Hey, good Thursday morning, everybody. It's meteorologist Brad Panovich here. Quick update on the rain and some storms to our south today. We talked yesterday about the threat being mainly to our south. It looks like it's even being pushed further south today, and that's good news because the cold air and wedge is helping us out. But there's a couple caveats I talked about yesterday, and there's one thing I'm going to watch for later tonight that we still got to keep an eye on, even though the overall severe weather threat is extremely low today. Let me show you the system. Now, here's what's going on. Low pressure back here over Arkansas. See the warm front down there? Today, if you've been outside, it's really cool. It's clammy. It's just, it doesn't really feel like April out there right now. I'm going to pause this, and what's going on is we're getting helped out by high pressure to the north, giving us a little bit of an east and northeast wind, and we've got rain and clouds in this area, all north of the warm front. This area up here, you're not going to see any severe weather right now until this warm front pushes to the north, and that's the key part about this because this warm front has all the warm, unstable air. You can see that's the focus of severe storms this morning along the Gulf Coast. Now, that being said, you can see what's called an occluded front right here, the low pressure system. Here's the warm front. Here's the cold front. That area is called the triple point. This thing is going to shift east at some point. Now, normally that's not a big deal, but if the warm front tries to move north quick, it could bring in some warm, humid, unstable air and allow tonight, when this front moves in, to cause us some issues. So the severe weather outlook again today, this is the latest updated one. Again, I don't know what's going on with the medium risk not filling in, but you can see the Carolinas relatively unscathed. We've got all of North Carolina kind of out of the worst of it. A very narrow ribbon of low, which includes areas down towards Columbia. Then the low country of South Carolina is in the medium threat. So this should be medium, whereas we've got the higher risk to the south. So everything's being pushed to the south. And if you look at the orientation of this, you can see that good old-fashioned wedge of cold air trapped up against the mountains helping us out. Now, let me show you. I know a lot of folks like to see what's the overall tornado risk today. Relatively low for us. This is the tornado risk. The area in green is 2%. The brown is 5%, and you can see the 10% risk down here over the area where the warm front is. This is typically where we see issues right along the warm front. Now, later tonight, you can see this little area over here in Tennessee. This is because we're anticipating some warm air getting pushed north with the warm front and then this colliding with it. Right now, it looks like over at least our area, that would be very unlikely, but it's still a possibility, and I'm going to show you why that could still happen. So let's bring in our other map here and we can kind of see this. I'll put it into motion. You see our low pressure system back here. Look at all the cloud cover and the rain, which is light over us right now, but the big storms to the south are really kind of eating up all the energy right now. Nothing can get north because down here is eating it all up. But let's see what happens later today, especially tonight as we get into this area back in here ahead of this occluded front and cold front. And you can actually see over Mississippi, we're starting to see some pop-up showers and storms. So let's pop up some of the radar data here, the future radar. I'm going to put the model data on here real quickly. And what you're looking at right here, I'm going to use all short-range guidance, is that thing we call thunderstorm fuel or CAPE. You can see it kind of surging to the north. So let me pop it back up here. And we'll go into the future. We'll go into this afternoon and kind of see where that surge of thunderstorm fuel goes. This is 2 o'clock this afternoon, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 p.m. So 8 p.m. tonight, you can see not much over the Carolinas, but that's why you get this little area of severe weather possible in Tennessee, because we've got a little spike of this getting pulled up north ahead of the main front. But over us, big nothing. There's just elevated CAPE, we call it, which would be a rumble of thunder, but nothing surface-based. We go through time into tonight. We'll go to about 2 o'clock in the morning. Just not a lot there. I mean, there just isn't much there. We'll go to 3 o'clock in the morning, 3, 4, and then that's the last of our model data for at least the short range. You can see just not a lot there. So let's back up and look at what this looks like as far as radar is concerned. So you see all the rain over us right now. We'll go into the future. This is 2 o'clock this afternoon. Scattered showers, drizzle, mist. All the storms are down here or back to the west. I'm really not worried about this because this is pushing off. This is pushing off in this way. Our concern would be anything in this line that begins to push east. So that's the area we're really kind of watching. At least I'm watching right now. And let me show you how that unfolds. So we'll go a little bit into the fuel. Let me get exit out here. There we go. Makes it easier to see there. We'll go a little bit further into the afternoon. We'll go into tonight. We'll stop this around 6 p.m. Look at all these storms down here. These are actually bad news for Georgia. Good news for us because these will block any inflow of warm, moist air. These thunderstorms will block our moisture source. So we're really, again, concerned with what's going on there more so than anything to our south. We'll go into the overnight hours. You can see just not a lot there. I'm going to zoom in closer to the Carolinas. Big storms going through South Carolina. We go into the overnight hours. Okay. Here we are about midnight, 1, 2 in the morning. But remember, there's not a lot of thunderstorm fuel with these coming in. So coolest part of the day, we're kind of losing some of our energy. Here we are, about 3 o'clock in the morning. Scattered storms moving into the mountains, just not a whole lot there. So overall, my concern is pretty low right now. And just to show you, I show you that updraft helicity. We saw the rotating storms. You can see where they are. Boy, down there in Georgia right now, those storms down there are the ones to watch. Look at that, going through the low country of South Carolina. So low country of South Carolina, definitely stay on guard today into tonight. But for most of us, there just isn't a lot of things coming together for us. The only concern, again, I would have is if what we're seeing to our south, somehow this warm front, which is doing all the action down here, comes flying to the north. But right now, that just doesn't look likely. One last thing I want to show you is significant tornado parameter, just to show you. Just don't see a lot of it coming through. But before I go there, let's go back to the reflectivity. I'm going to show you 2 different models. We'll go between them. You see the difference in the models here. Not a whole lot of difference, kind of showing the same thing. And in fact, the NAM is just not impressed with this at all. It shows basically a non-issue for us. But for the low country, South Carolina, look at those storms down there. This is where the action looks to be today into tonight. So let's go show you that significant tornado parameter. Okay, this is just to reinforce the fact that we don't have the ingredients for any significant severe weather right now. This is what we call the significant tornado parameters for scale from 0 to 10. I will go into the future. Again, this is all using short range guidance. This runs every hour, so we're getting updated information. We're always rerunning these short range models. You can see going into the afternoon and really into tonight, just nothing there, guys. I mean, that's just any little glimpse of a pop-up. This is why you see over in Tennessee that risk today. But notice as it crosses the mountains and moves into the stable air. And again, it's not so much about the mountains blocking this. It's that the mountains are trapping the cold air over the Piedmont, which is stabilizing the surface layer. There's still some decent wind shear out there. But if you can't get the surface to connect to that wind shear above your head, you don't tap into that potential for severe storm. So in this case, the surface layer being stable, which means it's separated from all that really high energy above our heads, keeps everything away. And you can see just not much of a severe weather risk at all. One last thing, I'll do the updraft helicity. I always like showing this one because this shows it over the entire model run. We can plot every track and look, I mean, there's no tracks over us. I don't look at this to see, oh, there could be a specific track here. I look for the number and intensity of tracks in a general area. And the fact that that's more down in this area. Whoops, I'm pulling up a sounding down there. I don't want to do that. I would show you, but that would be really good. But you can see what's going on down in here. This is where most of the action is, and there just isn't anything up in our area. So the area of concern today is primarily going to be down here in the low country of South Carolina. That's the area I would be watching for severe storms today. Again, we'll monitor the situation up here from the Midlands north, but I really think the area of concern today for severe storms is going to be right in here. Not so much up in here, because the saving grace today, and I'll turn off the radar, we'll turn the satellite back on. I'm going to show you the temperatures real quickly. Look at this air mass over us. It's in the 50s and 40s. Dew points are in the 50s. The winds, let me show you the wind direction, straight out of the north or northeast. They're just, this is not a really good setup for severe weather. We are totally stable, but we'll be keeping an eye on this stuff to the west later today. And of course, if anything changes, I'll post it on my page. So good news, looks very similar to Monday. As I talked about yesterday, the setup seems to be shunted way to our south with this. But bear in mind, going into, let me turn this off real quick. We do have another risk for some pop-up storms on Saturday that I want to show you as well. I don't know why this is not popping up here. My map isn't popping up here. Give me 1 second. I wanted to show you real quick the severe weather outlook for the weekend, because tomorrow the severe weather threat is for Florida and parts of Oklahoma and Arkansas. But as we go into Saturday, it looks like most of the Carolinas will be under a low risk again. And this looks more scattered, but there's another front coming in. So we could see a couple strong storms on Saturday. In fact, Saturday, much bigger part of our area will be impacted maybe by some isolated severe storms than today. So it's that time of the year. Stay weather aware. We're in the month of April, the peak of severe weather season.